You can't keep getting away with it! You can't keep getting away with it!
Oh boy, another live action remake. I am so excited to talk about this movie. But if you read the title of this video, I am going to be reviewing Peter Pan and Wendy today. This movie was directed by David Lowery and stars Alexander Manali, Ever Anderson, and Jude Law. And of course, this film is adapting the classic story of Peter Pan, that classic Disney film that may or may not be somewhat controversial today, but they remade it. They remade it because Disney have no good ideas, so they said, hey, let's remake Peter Pan again. And how is it? Do I even have to ask you that question? I think you already know. Listen, I wasn't excited for a Peter Pan reboot. I didn't even watch the first one that much. I don't really have that big of a nostalgia connection to it, but just taking into account Disney's fuck-ups and how many times they've remade a movie and it just turns out to be mediocre or bad and pointless, I was just not excited for this movie at all. I literally had no hope for it. And when I saw the trailer, that did not help either because it looked really goddamn bad. And it is really goddamn bad. Even though the critics, for some reason, again, seem to enjoy it way more than the audience.
Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
If I was to describe this movie, I would just say this movie is one of the biggest snore fests I have ever sat through. There's literally almost nothing of value in this movie. Don't even attempt it, because you're only gonna get a shittier version of the animated movie. They take all the things that we love, and they change them, and they put some different things in here, but none of it is interesting at all, and it just makes for a terrible, boring, bland experience overall. I just want to talk about some of the good things right now. Jude Law. Jude Law plays Captain Hook in this movie. He's decent in the movie, but that's not saying a lot considering what they give him. But I'd say for what he's given, he's okay at the very best. I'm not a big fan of Jude Law, to be honest, as an actor anyways. I don't really see him in a lot of things. But he was okay, and I didn't mind him in this movie. And also Ever Anderson, I actually thought was pretty decent as Wendy. You can definitely tell she's the actress who's really trying her best in this movie. In a whole movie of just all these different kid actors, a lot of the times it will get overshadowed by pretty bad performances. But I just want to say that she is good in this movie. I actually can tell that she's trying, at least. So I respect her for at least trying. And that is where the good things with this movie end. I hate this movie, and I just finished watching it like an hour ago. And I literally forget what happened in this movie. I forget this movie almost completely. The only reason that I remember it is because I have to make a review of it, so I have to write down notes. That is the only reason, because this movie is so fucking boring. A big problem I have with this movie too is that it literally strips away any charm that the original characters in the animation had. And they give you these cardboard cutout characters of characters that you once loved. And it's shocking to me how badly it was done, especially with Peter Pan. What the hell happened, bro? I don't want to be an asshole because I know he's a kid actor and I know he's trying his best, but I unironically kind of hated his performance. He seemed so bored. Like, he just seemed like he didn't care at all. Just a boring performance. And honestly, I don't blame him, because considering what they gave him, I imagine, there's just nothing there. And I honestly, like I said, I can't blame him for this because this is probably the script, but my god, he was awful. Remember Peter Pan in the original? He was sort of this whimsical, happy-go-lucky guy who just wanted adventure, but he was childish, but he wasn't childish where it became annoying, and he wasn't annoying in general. Yeah, that is completely taken away from this remake, and that is what this character is. And also, Smee, this is a little thing. He's so boring in this show. Remember in the animation, he was all funny and whimsical, and he was always with Captain Hook helping him as he went? Yeah, he's basically not even in this movie. Like, the character, if you were to look at them side by side, you literally could not tell besides the clothing. They are nothing alike. He's not fun, he's not funny, he's not whimsical, and I understand, like, this is a live-action remake. So, you know, you're not going to try and make it one-for-one for the animation and make it this big whimsical thing. But this is Peter Pan. It should be a little bit. Why are you going for a darker Peter Pan? Hook already did that, and it was great because it was actually well made. This movie has none of that. It's just so lazy. And I gotta say, in this movie, the action scenes are such a letdown. I have no idea how they got away with this. None of the fight scenes have any tension, excitement, and they're just flat and they're boring. And that's the problem too. The cinematography is awful in this movie. It's so flat and uninteresting and boring. It's just so boring. Everything about this movie is so lackluster and underwhelming and boring. And honestly, I'm kind of struggling to find words to describe this movie because there's just nothing to describe this movie. This movie's just meh. Like, there's just nothing else to it. And oh my god, the CGI. Listen, I hate getting mad at CGI artists, but oh my god, everything looks awful. I think everything when it comes to CGI looks awful. Especially Tinkerbell. My god, there's a reason I put her in the thumbnail because that's a real scene. Oh my god, I cringed so hard when I saw it. I was like, Jesus, that is so uncanny and awful looking. What did they do? And I gotta say too, the color palette in this movie is fucking ugly. Which I don't understand. You're in a Peter Pan movie. You're going to Neverland, one of the most magical places in fiction. This place with all these mermaids and all this fun and adventure, all these beautiful lush jungles, and they take you to a place that's literally just a bunch of hills. And then they put a filter over it where it makes it look all brown and just grainy and crap. Everything just looks like crap. It looks so dull and uninteresting. It's like they sapped all the fun out of Neverland, and what you get is just this hollow shell of an island where nothing interesting. Where there's just nothing interesting. There's nothing that makes you think that this is Neverland. This is just the most boring excuse for a Peter Pan movie in existence. It's awful. I'm struggling to find words. I don't understand what I'm supposed to say. This review's gonna be like 5 minutes long at this point. I'm just ranting about this movie because it's shit. It's so bad. And you know what? Screw it. I don't even want to talk about this movie anymore. I'm giving this movie a 3 out of 10. The only reason I'm giving it a 3 is because there are 2 good performances in this movie and like 1 okay action scene that I didn't even mention because the movie doesn't care. Like, it literally was just there for people to go, oh, you remember that from the animation? And then it never comes up again. And you'll probably know what I'm talking about just from hearing that. But this movie is trash. Do not watch this movie. Do not give Disney your time. Don't buy the Disney Plus for this movie. Do not do it. It is a complete waste of time. There is nothing of value in this movie. It is probably one of the worst live action remakes ever. And that is shocking because we've had so many bad ones. This is up there. It's so shit. Like, don't watch this movie at all. But hey, maybe Disney will redeem themselves with the Little Mermaid adaptation. That movie looks really great. I can't wait for that one. That movie's totally not gonna suck. Totally. It's gonna be great.